Welcome back to our daily Bible chapter Bible reading series where we're reading one chapter of the Bible every day. And today, February the 5th of 2022, we are in Numbers chapter 11. And Numbers chapter 11 has the people complaining, it has the 70 elders, and then the Lord's going to send quail. So let's get into it. Now when the people complained, it displeased the Lord, for the Lord heard it, and his anger was aroused. So the fire of the Lord burned among them, and consumed some in the outskirts of the camp. Then the people cried out to Moses, and when Moses prayed to the Lord, the fire was quenched. So he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord had burned among them. Now the mixed multitude who were among them yielded to intense craving. So the children of Israel also wept again and said, "Who will give us meat to eat? We remember the fish which we ate freely in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now our whole being is dried up. There is nothing at all except this manna before our eyes." Now the manna was like coriander seed, and its color like the color of bdellium. The people went about and gathered it, ground it on millstones, or beat it in the mortar, cooked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And its taste was like the taste of pastry prepared with oil. And when the dew fell on the camp in the night, the manna fell on it. Then Moses heard the people weeping throughout their families, everyone at the door of his tent, and the anger of the Lord was greatly aroused. Moses also was displeased. So Moses said to the Lord, "Why have you afflicted your servant? And why have I not found favor in your sight, that you have laid the burden of all these people on me? Did I conceive all these people? Did I beget them, that you should say to me, 'Carry them in your bosom as a guardian carries a nursing child, to the land which you swore to their fathers'? Where am I to get meat to give to all these people? For they weep all over me, saying, 'Give us meat that we may eat.' I am not able to bear all these people alone, because the burden is too heavy for me. If you treat me like this, please kill me here and now, if I have found favor in your sight, and do not let me see my wretchedness." So the Lord said to Moses, "Gather to me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be the elders of the people and officers over them. Bring them to the tabernacle of meeting, that they may stand there with you. Then I will come down and talk with you there. I will take of the Spirit that is upon you, and will put the same upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with you, that you may not bear it yourself alone. Then you shall say to the people, 'Consecrate yourselves for tomorrow, and you shall eat meat, for you have wept in the hearing of the Lord, saying, Who will give us meat to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Therefore the Lord will give you meat, and you shall eat. You shall eat not 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, nor 10 days, nor 20 days, but for a whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils and becomes loathsome to you, because you have despised the Lord who is among you, and have wept before him, saying, Why did we ever come up out of Egypt?" And Moses said, "The people who I am among are 600,000 men on foot. Yet you have said, I will give them meat, that they may eat for a whole month. Shall flocks and herds be slaughtered for them, to provide enough for them? Or shall all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them, to provide enough for them?" And the Lord said to Moses, "Has the Lord's arm been shortened? Now you shall see whether what I say will happen to you or not." So Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and he gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people and placed them around the tabernacle. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and spoke to him, and took of the Spirit that was upon him, and placed the same upon the 70 elders. And it happened, when the Spirit rested upon them, that they prophesied, although they never did so again. But 2 men had remained in the camp. The name of one was Eldad, and the name of the other was Medad. And the Spirit rested upon them. Now they were among those listed, but who had not gone out to the tabernacle, yet they prophesied in the camp. And a young man ran and told Moses and said, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp." So Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, one of his choice men, answered and said, "Moses, my lord, forbid them." Then Moses said to him, "Are you zealous for my sake? Oh, that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his spirit upon them." And Moses returned to the camp, he and the elders of Israel. Now a wind went out from the Lord, and it brought quail from the sea and left them fluttering near the camp, about a day's journey on this side and about a day's journey on the other side, all around the camp, and about 2 cubits above the surface of the ground. And the people stayed up all that day, all night, and all the next day, and gathered the quail. He who gathered least gathered 10 homers, and they spread them out for themselves all around the camp. But while the meat was still between their teeth, before it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was aroused against the people, and the Lord struck the people with a very great plague. So he called the name of that place Kibroth Hattaavah, because there they buried the people who had yielded to craving. From Kibroth Hattaavah the people moved to Hazeroth and camped at Hazeroth. Numbers chapter 11. And you know, something jumped out at me when I was reading that, and I think sometimes we have this sort of tendency as well. I mean, the Israelites, for all intents and purposes, were slaves to the Egyptians. I mean, they were servants, and you know, it wasn't a pretty sight. And yet, just they got their freedom from Egypt, and just for the taste of meat, they wanted to go back and become slaves again, essentially, just because they wanted meat. And you know, I think sometimes we lose sight of what it is that we have, and we don't trust God to continue to provide for us. He hadn't not provided for them the whole time, but yet, you know, sometimes we ask to go back to our chains instead of living free, you know, because freedom is maybe not as easy as we thought it would be, or, you know, I don't know how to explain it really. I don't know a good way to put it in there, but essentially the Israelites here, they wanted to go back to the chains just because they got meat there. You know, they've lost sight of everything else that they're about to get and what lies ahead of them, and the promised land and everything else, just because they wanted meat. And I mean, that frustrated God. I could imagine so. And he said, well, all right, you want meat? I'll give you some meat, but it's going to be coming out your nostrils. And I don't know about you, but that sounds awful. So anyway, maybe that's something we should think about today is, you know, are we trying to get back into our chains because it's, you know, it's the life that we knew, or are we trying to look forward and work towards what God has for us? I mean, in a sense, if you're a believer, God has a promised land for you upon death. You know, and some of us, maybe we're trying to hold on to life in this sinful life that we live because we're scared of what lies ahead in heaven. Not necessarily scared of it, but scared of the unknown and all of that. So anyway, that's just my thought of the day, and maybe something else jumped out at you, and I hope that you know, when you listen to the Bible, that you are thinking about what it's saying and getting something from that. So anyway, that was Numbers 11, and I hope you will join me tomorrow for Numbers 12.